Chapter 6, Chemical Composition. If you or anyone you know has hypertension, yeah? Yeah, come up and get it. If you know someone who has hypertension, you might know that they need to reduce their sodium intake because too much sodium can cause your blood pressure to go up. But we also need sodium in our diet because our body depends on it for many of the processes. Heavily involved in regulating body fluids. So how much is too much? Well, FDA recommends that you consume no more than 2.4 grams of sodium per day. But that mass of sodium is not the same as the mass of sodium chloride. So how could we figure out what mass of sodium chloride would be okay to consume in order to stay below that limit of sodium? And we're going to kind of go around that and learn some things, and we'll come back to answer that question at the end of lecture today. The chemical composition of table salt, sodium chloride, is NaCl. And that tells us there's one sodium ion for every chloride ion. But because the sodium ions and the chloride ions don't weigh the same amount, we can't say that sodium is just half the mass of the sodium chloride. So we have to actually calculate the mass of sodium in a given amount of sodium chloride. And these sorts of calculations come about in many different aspects. This is the sort of question that would be important to someone who's mining. If you're mining iron, it's not like gold where you just go find chunks of gold or a vein of gold and you find the element iron in the ground. It's in some sort of an ionic compound, and we call that an iron ore. So in that amount of ore, maybe you brought in a couple tons of ore today. How much iron is in there? Well, if you know the chemical composition of the ore, you could figure out how much iron is in there. Here's an illustration of Freon 12. It's used as a coolant. How much chlorine is in there? Well, these are the sorts of things we can learn how to calculate.